In the early 1900s, Tulsa was a small place on the Oklahoma frontier. There wasn't much to it beyond several blocks of wooden buildings and dusty roads. It was a rough and tumble town of merchants, cowboys, and pioneers. Then oil was discovered nearby. Derricks quickly popped up in the fields around Tulsa. Wealth was pouring from the ground. This old cowtown was becoming a rich, oil-boom city with a promising future. But there was one big problem. The water was bad. The city's main supply, the Arkansas River, was muddy and as salty as the ocean. Even after it was treated, the Arkansas River water that was piped into homes was dirty. Bottled water had to be trucked in from other places for cooking and drinking. W.R. Hallway, a graduate of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, was hired to operate Tulsa's water filtration plant. He studied the Arkansas River water and declared it could not be made clean enough to drink. It was too salty. Hallway convinced city leaders that Tulsa's future was in jeopardy unless a clean water source was found somewhere else. The answer was in the hills 55 miles northeast of Tulsa. The Spavinaw Creek area had an abundant supply of fresh, clear water, suitable for bathing and drinking. This water would be perfect if Tulsa could get it. In 1921, Tulsans went to the polls and approved a bond issue to fund a major flow line to bring Spavinaw water by gravity into Tulsa. At that time, it was the largest municipal bond project in the United States of America. The city hired W.R. Hallway to design and engineer this monumental project. Before a flow line was put in, railroad track had to be laid from Tulsa to Spavinaw, since trains were the only way to transport the massive concrete water pipe. The sections of pipe, 5 foot in diameter, were manufactured in Verdigris, Oklahoma, hauled by train and wrestled into place. As weeks grew into months, the pipeline snaked through the rolling hills. Hundreds of laborers and more than 60 engineers were piecing together the longest and largest diameter gravity flow line since the time of the Romans. In several spots along the way, they dug tunnels so the pipe could cross under 2 rivers and through a ridge. Everything was done with precision, keeping the pipe on a downward slope into Tulsa. Besides the flow line, there was construction of a dam on Spavinaw Creek to create a reservoir. The dam was 2/3 of a mile long and 5 stories high. W.R. Hallway designed the center of the dam almost an inch higher than the ends to allow for curvature of the earth. On the other end of the flow line back in Tulsa, there was construction of the Mohawk Reservoir to hold the Spavinaw water. Pumping and treatment facilities were also built, and a network of lines to carry water into the neighborhoods. Tulsa's new water system was one of the most expensive public works projects of that era, and by late 1924, everything was ready. On November 17, 1924, the President of the United States, Calvin Coolidge, pressed a switch in Washington, D.C. to initiate the Spavinaw system. Water gushed from Spavinaw Lake, flowed underground through 55 miles of pipe, and when they turned on the faucets in Tulsa, out came sparkling Spavinaw water. The system performed perfectly. The headlines declared it Tulsa's greatest day. Clean Spavinaw water was flowing into Tulsa homes. There was no more mud in bathtubs, no more relying on bottled water. There was joy across the city. As a publicity stunt, engineer W.R. Hallway allowed the city to place his last payment in a bottle and send it to him through the flow line. As Tulsa's population grew, so did the need for more water. After World War II, voters okayed construction of a second big flow line to Spavinaw. It was another job, for the hallway engineering firm. This ambitious project consisted of building another 55-mile flow line from Spavinaw to Tulsa. The new line would run parallel to the original water pipe. Another dam was built further upstream, creating Lake Uchee. This updated system would supply the entire city with sparkling Spavinaw water for decades to come. Then, as Tulsa continued to grow in the 1960s, pumps were added, and the Spavinaw system could now supply Tulsa with up to 100 million gallons of fresh water a day. Today, Spavinaw and Uchee water is the lifeblood of much of northeastern Oklahoma. The system supplies Tulsa with 1/2 of its drinking water through the Mohawk treatment plant. Tulsa gets the other half of its water from Lake Oologah through the A.B. Jewell water treatment plant. Plus 17 smaller cities and 11 water districts in northeastern Oklahoma, 20% of the state's population now get water from the Spavinaw system. Starting the project in the 1920s was a bold and visionary move by a city desperate for clean water. Constructing the system today would cost roughly $276 million. The Spavinaw project was more than a good idea. It was needed for survival. Without this source of clean water, Tulsa would have likely dried up, and certainly would not have grown into the vibrant city of today.